The sprawling throne room of the Zandari Queen was bathed in a pale blue light, cast from the crystalline walls that shimmered like liquid ice. Her subjects, a mixture of dignitaries and elite warriors, moved with careful precision, aware that every gesture could be observed and judged by the ruler who had commanded the respect of countless star systems. Yet amidst this controlled order, the human guard named Lauren stood apart. He had been assigned to the Queen months ago, initially regarded with curiosity, then skepticism, and finally with grudging acceptance. Humans were rare in the Zandari court, seen as resilient but unpredictable. On that particular day, the court buzzed with tension. Reports of rogue fleets near the frontier planets had reached the Queen's ears, though she had maintained her usual composed demeanor. Lauren, stationed near the arched entrance, noticed subtle shifts in her posture, the slight tightness in her shoulders that spoke of concern even before she addressed the assembly. Then it happened. The Queen's knees buckled and she collapsed onto the cold crystalline floor. A gasp swept through the room. Advisors and guards rushed forward, but Lauren was already moving, his training guiding him with near-automatic precision. He knelt beside her, checking her pulse, assessing the faint shimmer of her vital signs. Unlike humans, Zandari physiology was not immediately obvious to outsiders. Their nervous system interfaced partially with ambient energy fields, making subtle fluctuations crucial indicators of health. The court's medical staff arrived, but Lauren's sharp eyes noticed something they missed. There was no immediate cause for collapse, no visible injury, no toxin detected by the preliminary scans. Yet a shadow lingered around the Queen, a faint distortion in the energy signature that seemed almost deliberate. Lauren's mind raced. Humans were trained to notice patterns and anomalies, a skill often dismissed as instinct in alien courts. But his instincts were rarely wrong. "Step back," he commanded calmly, addressing the nearest attendants. "She is stable for now, but something is wrong." A senior advisor, a tall Zandari with silver hair, looked at him incredulously. "You presume to instruct us, human?" "I presume to protect the Queen," Lauren replied. "If you want her to survive, you will follow my lead." There was a tense pause. Then the advisor nodded sharply, allowing Lauren to continue his assessment. He touched a small device strapped to the Queen's wrist, scanning the bioenergy flows. That's when he saw it, a faint but consistent siphoning pattern originating from a pendant she always wore. The pendant glowed subtly, almost imperceptibly, but it pulsed with a rhythm that did not match the Queen's heartbeat. "Remove it," Lauren said firmly. One of the attendants hesitated, as if the idea of touching the Queen's personal adornments was sacrilege, but the human's gaze, unwavering, compelled obedience. The pendant was carefully lifted away, and almost immediately, the Queen's color began to return, her breathing deepening. The siphoning pattern vanished as though it had never existed. She was being drained," Lauren murmured, "by something inside this pendant." The room fell silent, the weight of the revelation settling over the gathered Zandari. The Queen herself opened her eyes, faintly, and focused on the human who had saved her. "Lauren," she whispered, her voice fragile but commanding. "Explain." He rose to his full height, steady and composed. "Your Highness, this was not a natural collapse. Someone, or something, has been using this pendant to leech your life force. I do not yet know who, but I detected the siphon pattern and neutralized it." The Queen's gaze softened. Despite her usual regal authority, there was a glimmer of relief. "You trusted your instincts," she said. "Humans are unpredictable, yes, but your judgment was precise." Lauren bowed slightly. "I am trained to observe patterns. Your people may be able to sense energy flows, but the human mind excels at connecting anomalies across disparate systems." The Queen studied him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she rose, supported by two attendants. "We will need to investigate who placed this upon me. If an enemy can penetrate my personal security so deeply, they may already be inside the palace." Lauren nodded. "I recommend immediate isolation of all personnel with access to your quarters." Simultaneously, we must examine all external communications and security logs. Whoever did this left a trail. The Queen paused, her eyes narrowing. You speak with confidence for one of a species I barely understand. I speak with honesty, Lauren replied. Confidence follows facts, not assumption. The Queen allowed herself a brief, rare smile. Then we shall act according to your recommendations. Prepare your team. Within the hour, the palace had transformed into a controlled storm of investigation. Lauren directed teams, human and Zandari alike, cross-referencing personnel records, energy readings, and recent communications. It was meticulous work, and while many found the human methods unusual, none could deny their effectiveness. Hours passed, and Lauren's persistence paid off. A hidden chamber was discovered beneath one of the observation towers, a place thought inaccessible for centuries. Within, there were devices that resonated with the same siphoning energy as the pendant, confirming his suspicions that this was a coordinated attack. More surprisingly, Lauren identified a humanoid signature in the logs, someone capable of mimicking Zandari energy patterns, a rare skill. When he presented this evidence to the Queen, her reaction was intense. A humanoid? Among my inner circle? Her voice trembled with anger. How did you discover this? I traced the energy signature backward, Lauren explained. The siphon leaves residual traces. Zandari sensors are not sensitive enough to detect it without direction. The pendant was simply the focal point. The Queen considered this, pacing the crystalline floor. If a humanoid can infiltrate my court, then perhaps the reports from the frontier fleets were a distraction. They seek to weaken us from within. Exactly, Lauren said. The threat is closer than anyone realized. Acting quickly is critical. The next day, with Lauren's guidance, the Queen orchestrated a discreet operation to root out the infiltrator. Using a combination of human logic, which prized deduction and systematic testing, and Zandari energy analysis, they identified the culprit. An advisor who had served loyally for decades yet had been secretly manipulating energy channels to siphon the Queen's vitality for personal gain. The confrontation was swift and decisive. The advisor, once confronted with the evidence, attempted to flee but was stopped by Lauren and the Queen's personal guard. The siphoning devices were neutralized, and the palace restored to full security. Afterward, in the private audience chamber, the Queen addressed Lauren. You have not only saved my life but revealed a vulnerability I had ignored for centuries. How can I repay such a service? Lauren shook his head. Your life is reward enough. My purpose is to serve and protect. The rest is consequence of doing one's duty. The Queen studied him, noting the calm determination in his human expression. Your people are remarkable, she said. You think in ways that are unconventional, but effective. Perhaps this is why humans have survived and thrived across countless worlds. You see what others overlook and you act where others hesitate. Lauren inclined his head. Observation and action are inseparable. Without one, the other is meaningless. The Queen paused, her gaze thoughtful. I want you by my side permanently, not only as guard but as advisor. Your methods, your mind, could strengthen the entire court. I am honored, Lauren replied simply. In the days that followed, the palace adjusted to this new dynamic. Lauren's presence, initially a point of curiosity and skepticism, became a stabilizing force. He introduced small changes, subtle at first, blending human logic with Zandari tradition. Security protocols were tightened, energy monitoring systems were upgraded, and investigation procedures standardized in ways that were foreign but undeniably effective. More than once, the Queen observed him in silence, marveling at the human capacity for reason and perseverance. Where Zandari relied on intuition and long-established hierarchy, Lauren relied on observation, deduction, and action. His ability to see hidden patterns had uncovered the attempted poisoning before it became lethal, a feat that would have remained impossible otherwise. One evening, while reviewing reports in her private chambers, the Queen called him in. The human entered, noting the subtle tension in the air. Lauren, she began, I have come to understand something vital. Your species, your kind, is not merely resilient. You are capable of seeing through deception, of anticipating threats in ways that even we cannot. In a time when every advantage matters, this is invaluable. I am glad I could be of service, Lauren replied. Understanding patterns is a skill that develops under necessity. Humans have learned to survive by observing and acting quickly. It seems the lesson has value even here. The Queen nodded, her eyes reflecting both admiration and relief. I wish I had recognized this sooner. Perhaps the future of the Zandari will benefit greatly from your guidance. As the weeks turned into months, Lauren continued his work, uncovering further attempts at subtle manipulation and sabotage that had gone unnoticed for decades. Each discovery reinforced the idea that human intuition, logic, and persistence were extraordinary tools in a universe where energy flows, political intrigue, and alien cunning intersected. And yet, for all his accomplishments, Lauren remained quietly observant, never seeking recognition or reward beyond the